again. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Tech Condo. Really appreciate for you for being here today. I'm back. I'm back in my studio. I'm so happy. I love to be in my studio. It's not a big studio, I have to admit, but it's definitely better than Tech Kitchen, as I used to call my kitchen setup that I had in the US. This is much better. This is really a better feeling to it. This everything is better. Hey, welcome to Loom, who's over on YouTube. Really appreciate you for hanging out again. And also, I see that Mr. Floyd Fernandez is also in the house. He says hello from Colorado. I definitely want to go to Colorado one day, and I don't know when, but it's definitely gonna happen. Also, you might hear him in the background. So that's just my cat, Kermit. He's here. He's right there, and he's now walking outside of the studio. But he's probably gonna go back, because the thing with Kermit is that he is, once I come back home, he wants to be as much as possible in my area and playing with me and doing so as much as possible. So when I'm paying attention to you, then that means that he feels like he's not getting the attention. It's like a small kid, but I really appreciate him for that. Anyway, Floyd also says you look all rested up and ready to fire up the internet. Nice. I will. Don't worry. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And I also see somebody from the Netherlands, a certain somebody, my dad, who's also in the house. Really appreciate that. And he is on Facebook. So we're streaming directly on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time. We call that multicasting, just for people that don't know that. That means that I can see both your comments on Facebook and on YouTube, and you can actually see where it comes from. So in the case of Floyd, you'll see a red logo before his name, which indicates that he's from YouTube. And in my dad's situation, you have the famous blue and white F for Facebook. That's just an FYI so that you know where to look at. So yes, I'm back in the studio, and I have something right there. That, my friends, is the very new version of vMix. Version vMix 23, and the one that I have exactly is vMix 230021. So it's quite one that is still a bit in the area of in development, beta version, that's what they call it. So it's a non-productive version, and we're going to walk you through all the steps that you can take to start up, think about, work with it. Now I have to admit, do not use it for productive purposes like I do. Don't how do you say that in English? Do as I preach, not as I do, or something like that. And also, yes, that's one more thing before we really get into the nitty and gritty of the show. Nice T-shirt, my dad says. Thank you. It is definitely a nice bird. It's from Canada. It's a native artwork. I'm totally into native artwork these days, so you will see more T-shirts of these coming up during the show, and I hope that you will appreciate that. I will definitely appreciate that. But before we let's just move on, right? Let's. And welcome to the show. Welcome to Tech Condo. My name is Petra Verbruggen, which you can see right about now. If all is well. Why not today? Anyway, my name is Petra Verbruggen, and if you want to support the show, you can also do that via techcondo.net. That works. Okay. techcondo.net, and there you can support the show with $5, $10, $15, $25 per month, or just a one-timer is also, of course, really appreciated. So, yes, As you might know, I've been working at a conference for vMix. We have these cool mouse pads to give away. This is just one of them from the Netherlands. This is IBC 2019 International Broadcasting Conference, and it's basically the same as the NAB show over in Las Vegas and in New York, but then it's in Europe, and it was really cool, and I could try out something really cool, which was version 23. Now, it was not a full version, feature-rich set at that time. It was still only SRT. We're going to talk about it. Don't worry about it. These are all abbreviations. We're going to talk about that. SRT and the audio buses. Those were the changes that they have. And today we're going to walk you through the major changes. Not all of them because I cannot show everything. But we're going to go a little bit more in depth than just saying what it is. So in order to download it, let's show that to you. So I have to be very quick and... Oh, wait. I don't have to be very quick because I have it right here. I think it's not updating, but let me. Hey, wait a sec. Do a quick reset. I think. There you go. All right, display 2. All right. Okay, so sorry about that. So if you look at this is the vMix website. Then you have to go to forums, which is the before last menu item or tab, and then let's go into the forum. Note I'm not even logged in. At this moment I'm not logged in, but of course normally you should. Then go to general discussions. And then announcement version vMix version 23 preview released, and there is where you can find it. Now there is a double disclaimer. This is for who like to live on the edge. There will be some bugs, and it should not be used in production. So it's really saying quite a lot of do not, do not, do not, do not. If you have a vMix version released after the 1st of January 2018, then you can actually have this as a free download, and you don't have to pay the $60 version that is typical if you upgrade within vMix. So you don't have to pay for this one if you have a newer version than the 1st of January 2018. Moving back to that screen, you see quite some, let me zoom in a little bit here for you guys. And I will come to your comments, of course. So these are some of the features. SRT in and out, we're going to talk about that in depth. More audio buses, yes, we will talk about those as well. Mix input, I have to admit, I can show you that it's there, but I have a very hard time myself to understand what the added value will be. So I'm still figuring out if that is something that you should be working with. Then we have the vMix media converter, which is very handy because it can convert vMix AVI files to ProRes or even to DaVinci Resolve, which is, for DaVinci Resolve, which is great because DaVinci Resolve is what I also use myself. The text editor has text bounding, so it will increase the box size depending on the text that you put in. And it also has NDI4 support, which is the new version of NDI, which is a network protocol to have a low latency stream across your network. Then it has a lot of additional things here, and there are a few that I'm gonna talk about. First and foremost, web controller authentication support is one that's important. I'm going to tell you why. Facebook destination is also also possible due to a lesser restriction by Facebook itself. And those are the basic things that are important. Why am I bringing up the web controller one? Well, because I'm really happy to announce that that's a Petra Verbruggen feature. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm going to tell you why I thought it would be very important to have something like that. And I was amazed that it was actually exactly the same that Martin and myself during IBC said, well, maybe this is going to be good enough. And he put it in, and I'm so happy. It's a very small change, but it's a big change. So I love it. I love it. All right. Oh, a lot of people are going in, coming in. Do as I say, not as I do. That's indeed exactly how it should be. But in the live streaming world, I think it's called David. Yeah, something like that. David Foster. That's what we're talking about. David Foster, cool guy. He's doing quite a lot of strange things. Yeah, yeah. And hello, young lady from Webster, New York. I don't see who is in there, but I presume it's one of my dad's friends. Welcome, welcome. Really appreciate it that you're here. Thank you for watching. Then I see Jason all the way from Canada. He says, happy Saturday, friends. And also a big hello from Kathleen. And Antonio Baron, he says also, hi, really appreciate for you, you guys for being here. All right, so let's delve into it. Let's delve into vMix 23. So you just download it via the forum site. You don't have to log on to it, which is kind of amazing. Immediately, you can run it. It's a beta version. Again, very big disclaimer here. Do not use it for production purposes like I do right now. But anyway, don't do that. It's not a good idea because it might fail. So that is it. But I have a so once you start the vMix up, you'll see this screen as you are very much used to. I think it looks very much the way that it always has been. I mean, it's quite a, well, let's say, very easy interface out of the box. And to be honest, let's remove this part. So this is basically it. And what I've done now is that I'm doing a desktop capture just because I want to show you how vMix 23 is looking at and what you can expect. So first and foremost, let's talk about audio buses. So the first thing is audio buses. And if you look at what we have here in the current version, we actually have the master, and then you have the audio bus A, and you have the audio bus B. And what you use the audio buses for can be a multitude of things. The way that I use it is that if I'm at a venue, I want to be able to in some cases bring audio to a screen that is at the location itself, but not everything, because if you have a presenter right there and he hears himself in the television set or the monitor, then he will hear an echo, because there's always a latency with software switchers. So that's going to be like a bit of an icky thingy. So what I typically do is that I remove every audio from bus A and only give bus A to that monitor, and that's it. So, and only bus A will have, for instance, oh, I can show you actually on my own screen. I think. All right, yes, I can. So I'll give you this display right now, like so. So here you'll see the M for master, and then you have the A, and as you can see, the Taekwondo opening is also sent to the A, and that also is for the music, which is right here. So there's some music playing here, and I can actually switch off and switch on audio bus A. So that is the way that works. Okay, so that's one of the things that you can do, but you can also use it for a multitude of languages. So for instance, if you're in the US and you have a channel that is fully English and another channel that is fully Spanish, then that's also a possibility that you have with audio buses. Now, granted, A and B, I've never had the use case of having more than that, but you can imagine if you have French, Spanish, Italian, Dutch, and English, you already have 5. So what they've done is that in the new version of version 23, they've added additional audio buses. And the way that you can access them on the system is by going to settings, and then you go to audio outputs, and there you'll find not only A and B, but also A, B, C, all the way to G. And if you would select them, and let's just enable them and nothing more at this moment, then you will see that there will be some changes going on. So let's do until D, because it doesn't matter if you have D to G, it's the same thing going on. So let's say OK. And note that if you want to change that, you have to reset vMix. So let's do that. So it's now restarting, and it's back. That's as quick as it can get, and you already see that that now you have an A, a B, a C, and a D. So that's the way that that goes. Now, how do you now add that audio file, and how do you select C, D, for instance? Because if you look at the old version, you only have space for A and B. So, and looking at the screen that you just saw, there's not a lot of changing. So let's see that. So we'll add a audio file, sorry, a video file. I have already prepared that a little bit, like this, and press OK. And now this is a video file, and note that you only have A and B right here. So how do you select C and D and E? Well, that's a right click, and then you select, for instance, D, and now D is selected. And the way that you can see that is that if you hover over it and then say right click, and then you can see again that the D is selected. So that's the way that you can use the audio buses together with vMix 23. So I'm very curious if that's something that you might have a use case for. So let me know that. Kathleen, indeed, we have a global audience, and that's basically the case, because if we were with multiple people and we are going to create a video that is spread across the world, and you want to go Spanish, English, French. For instance, in Canada, you're a multilingual. You have two official languages, so that's English and French. So it might be that in some cases you need to have both of them on your TV. Yeah, so I don't know if that's the case, but that could be a use case. You rebel, you. I like to break things. Come on, you know that. I really need to learn how to use the audio buses options. So yes, again, for Kathleen, for you, if you can use it also for providing. I just figured that out. You can also, if you have a vMix call, for instance, you can also select if that user hears the master or one of the buses. And the use case of that is that in some cases, and I'm not sure if you do that, but I sometimes do that, especially if I'm in a different setup and in a different, let's say, audience. I want to have like a filler, like a music, like a drone going as a music thing very low. But if you have a call with somebody and he hears that music, he might be, well, he doesn't like it. He's not 100% focused to your questions because of that. In that case, you can just switch it off, and that he doesn't hear that filler, but he only hears you. And that is also a use case that you can use for that. So if audio bus is the answer to avoiding feedback or double audio, that I need to work on it. It might be because of what I just said. And Floyd says, "Dang it! You sold me first of the year, of the year's toys of buys." Okay, cool. I love it. So okay, great. So okay, so that is the first one. So this is again the first feature. Another feature, and I call that. Let me come back to me. The Petra Verbruggen feature, or the Petra feature, or the Taekwondo feature. I'm so happy it's there. Martin, listen to me. We actually had a discussion. It was behind the booth. They had a like a meeting room, like a meeting room so that he can talk with suppliers or bigger customers. And I was just talking to him and said, yeah, the one thing that I'm really missing is that if you use web control, I use the web control quite a lot, especially if I'm having a remote production, remote production. Remember with the live view systems that I have 2 or 3 people in a different place, and they can listen to me via the live view technology, but they are not really capable of seeing if they're live, yes or no. And the way that you can do that is via a tele system. Now, I do own a tele system. It's fantastic, and I know that the person that is using it, sorry, that's QB. We're definitely going to talk about that also, because I know that the person that is creating that, it's now limited to one Wi-Fi network, so it has to be in this area, in this or in another area where you have the same Wi-Fi. But he's working on a concept where it's not necessary anymore, and it can actually talk to each other via internet, but it's not there yet. So that also means that I cannot use that that tele system, even though it's really, really good. I have to admit that. But that's beside the point. So what we can now do is that we can actually use our own phones to talk to each other. Well, we cannot talk to each other, but I can with vMix change the color of the display from green or to red, depending on if his camera is active, so is on the air, is live, or it's not. So you can see it on color. So the only thing that they need to do is they have to have their phone in front of them, so that when they shoot with the camera, they can look a little bit side to their camera and say, okay, I'm live or I'm not, which is great, especially because with the live view system, you do have a little bit of a delay, because first and foremost, I get a delay on the video, and then if I say something, they get it also with a second, well, not even a second, but 0.7, 0.8 seconds delay. But in total, it's 1.5 seconds, and that's a lot. So that's the reason why we need to have something in that area. So that's the reason why I did that. And so with the web control interface, it is absolutely something that you can do. And I'm gonna show you how that looks like in a minute. So, okay, well, I can actually show you. Wait a sec. I can show you. Let's do that. So like this. So this screen, what I'm gonna show you right now, I said display 2. There you, not that one. This one. Okay, so here you have the tele interface, and this is the IP address internally, and this is the tele interface. And you can here, as a cameraman, you can select which camera that you are on. So that's camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. So for instance, if I click on main, then it's now blue, and blue means that it's not even on the preview. It's not on the program. It's not on the preview. It is really somewhere else. As soon as I bring the main into my preview, it turns yellow. And once I turn it to this, it turns green. Now you have to, well, can I show it to you somewhere? Let me show it to you via the wonderful world of the iPhone. Just show it to you that it's green. Oh, the other way around, of course. There you go. So it's green. See? So that's what I mean. So the color changes, and that is immediate. So you know exactly when you are live. There is one catch, which was really bugging me, and that is that if you look at the system, the web controller, and now I have to very quickly change something. Come on. Yeah. Okay. So now, if I go into that screenshot, the screen again, and I go to the main page, you can actually also via internet change this. So I actually, if I click here with the mouse on this, you will see me here. So you can imagine if somebody on the opposite side of the internet does that, well, basically that means that I don't have I don't have control over my production anymore. That was a major issue for me because I don't want to have that. I don't want people to have the possibility, apart from me, to be able to do this remotely, because it does have some benefit to have that possibility. I do use this feature when I'm streaming IRL, then I use this feature exactly. So that's the way that I do it. So if I'm abroad, I'm on a phone, then it looks roughly like this, and I just select which one I need. So that's the way that I typically do that. So that's really an awesome thing, but you don't want to have that everybody does that. So now looking at at vMix again, Martin did it. He changed it for me, and I'm so happy because now I can actually do the following. I can actually go into settings. Oh, wait. I can actually go into settings right here, and I can then go to web controller, which is right here, and then look at this username, admin, password. So if I would press a password here, like for instance this one, and now I can actually say if you want access or not on following pages without log on. So for instance, I do want them to have access to the tally. So now I'm selecting that. So now everybody can still use the tally, but not the others. And I'm going to do that one more time, but I have to prepare something else. So just a quick heads up right here. So I'll do that very quickly here. Click, click, click. I'm going to do that the same as there. Remove this, remove this. That's, yeah. Now I can show it to you because otherwise I couldn't. That one should remain up and running. All right, so what does it look like? Well, let's show it to you in, yeah, Kermit. Let's go to tally, because that one we know is there. All right, so now I'm going to show you again that screen. So here you have that screen again, and it still is working like a charm, so I still have the tally. But now, if I want to go to a different situation, a different tab, for instance, if I go back to this and I want to go, no, I don't want to translate this. I want to go to, for instance, the controller. It asks for a password. So then I really need to fill in the password that I just created, and like so, boom. And now I can actually still use it, but I need it to fill in the password. And I'm really pumped about that. Again, it's a small little change, but it's a Petra Verbruggen activity. You should we should peek at the code, see if your name is there, if this is within the functionality. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's the case, but I know that I know how it went, and I know it's exactly as we came to understand it at the end. So I'm so happy. So this is really going to help me quite a lot. Another thing that has changed, and that's also cool, is of course something that Facebook has done, is that it has relaxed the ability to have a multi-stream to Facebook and to, for instance, YouTube at the same time. That used to not be possible. So now it's perfectly possible to go into the stream and select Facebook here. Oh wait, I'm gonna change something here. Change Facebook here to, sorry, the destination to Facebook, right there. And then if you do Facebook settings, you can log on and you can totally use the API and it's going to work like a charm. As a matter of fact, this stream is totally done that way. So I'm very happy that that's working because it makes it life much easier for me. It's a very small thing again, but it works. Other thing that I want to show you here is for the people that are used to go to Mixer. Yes, they have a predefined Mixer setup as well, which is also awesome that that's the case at this moment. So I would say that there's quite a lot of changes there, right? So that makes me very, very happy. And I'm really interested in what you guys think about that. I think that going to Mixer in one go is really cool. Going to Mixer to YouTube was there, of course, for a long, long time. Hey, Kermit, don't eat the wire. No, that's not okay. No, that's not okay. Don't eat the wire. Yeah, people are hearing you. Anyway, so you might think that this is it, but I've left the major change. Wait a sec. Are there benefits to using the API over RTMP? For me, the benefit, well, it is easier because when you stream from a other place and you don't have access to the full desktop every time. So for instance, when you're IRLing and you're using vMix, then the API makes more sense because every time you can restart the stream and it will just redo the whole thing. It doesn't have a need for a different stream key, for instance, what you do have with RTMP. Now with RTMP, of course, you have a multitude of additional features that you can use, and one of them is, for instance, the scheduled post, etc. So yes, I do understand that that's also easier, but for me, this is easier. I'm very excited about the next release of vMix, Kathleen says, and I am so too. But I didn't say something about the major improvement that I've seen, which I also love. And that's also a thing that actually you have been looking at for the full show. So remember this shot right here. So this shot is actually running through a new protocol. It's called SRT. It stands for Secure Reliable Transport, and it's a very minimalistic. It's very it's an open source. It's an open source tool. So you have a multitude of software and hardware vendors that are using SRT these days. You could use it also with, for instance, BirdDog. Also, there are some boxes that you can use for encoding and decoding, and it's a very nice product. And again, the vMix that you've seen so far was always going through SRT. But how did I do it? Now, before I do this, I have to go one step back because I forgot one important thing that I've learned during the setup today. And that is that, unfortunately, I had to open up one more thing to make it work. So if I go back to the system, let's go here. So and I'm talking now about specifically about the web controller again. Then if I go into settings, like here, yeah, settings indeed. And I go to web controller, then note that I also needed to do one more thing, is that I actually, on the other computer that I didn't show you, I also added the API. And the reason why, besides the tally, I also need to open up the API is that otherwise your vMix Social will not work. vMix Social will have to go through the API. So that's something that is a bug in my opinion. So I will be talking to Martin about it to get that fixed. But it was only opening the API, and that did the trick. But it's something that you have to take into account. Moving on to that beautiful system again. Is of course SRT. What does it look like? How can you install it? That kind of stuff. So let's go into this. This is the starting point again. What we want to do, come back. What we want to do is that from that computer, the computer that is right there, that one there, we want to have a connection with this computer right there. And the way that we do it is that we have to set up a listener on that on this part and a caller on that part. So a listener on the server, and the client a caller. Or another option is rendezvous, but we will be talking about that also. Let's do one step at a time. So first and foremost, let's set up the listener. And the way that you do that is on the listener system is to go to the settings again. And note that here you'll find a output NDI and added SRT. So if you click on this, nothing is changing. You don't see the word SRT anywhere. So this is something that you need to know, is that if you want to enable that, then you need to go to this clock wheel, click on it, and then you hit enable SRT right here. Then the output 2 in this case is ready to rock and roll, and then the only thing that you need to change is the listener, is the type. Is it the caller, is it the listener, or is it rendezvous? So listener is just opening up the system to accepting a call from the outside. It's not looking at anything. In the sense, it's not looking at the host name where it comes from. It only looks at the ports that it's listening to, but all the other stuff it's not looking at. You also have rendezvous, and rendezvous is actually a point-to-point connection between two systems, and on both sides of the system you need to know each other's IP address, each other's port, and it has to be exactly the same configuration in order for it to work. In this case, again, we're using this as a listener. So, and we're listening to 5,000. The default is 10,000, but for some reason, I don't know, I wanted to use 5,000 just to know if something is happening. And I was also playing with it because there was one other thing that was a problem, and I'm going to show you that in a few seconds. So this is it. This is all I needed to do. And note there's also something like a latency, milliseconds. So it's now at this moment set to 50 milliseconds, which is almost nothing. And I can actually make it even less. I can actually put it to 20, but I'm going to tell you why in a second. And then the quality can be selected here. So we have both H.264 and HEVC, and HEVC is a new version of H.264. It's actually H.265, and the beauty of HEVC is that it has less bandwidth. It needs less bandwidth for the same quality. So actually, come to think of it, it would be better to say to that system to do it in HEVC. But for the sake of time, let's not do that because this is working. And okay, and you can also set up a passphrase because it is a secure connection. And note we're using the hardware encoding, and and then we click OK. Well, in this case, I'm doing cancel, but that's it. Now, note I selected on purpose output 2. Output 1 will not work for me in my particular situation. It has been, I was looking at that issue for about 20 minutes to figure out why it was what it was. And actually, it was very simple. You can actually, now that I know why it didn't do it, but looking at it and troubleshooting it is quite a challenge. The reason why it was not working is actually the following, is that if you go into the external output right here, then you note you have external and external 2. But external 1 is actually connected to a device. It's connected to the DeckLink video renderer that I have in my system. And external 2 is not. It's virtual. It's not even a device. So that is the reason why it was acting that way, and that why it's not working. And that's the reason why, if you look at this cog wheel, it's not set. It doesn't make sense for me to have SRT to a device. It was quite a challenge to get to that area, but okay. Another thing which is important to note is that I have set it to 50 milliseconds. Remember that? Why is that the case? Why did I do that on 50 seconds? Well, actually, come to think of it, I could actually put it even on 5 seconds. Oh, sorry, 5 milliseconds. And the reason for that is that because I'm internally in my own network, there is not a lot of delay here at all. But if you are across the world, like in Australia or the US, you will have a few milliseconds delay. 100, 200, 300, maybe 50. But you will have delay. And you need to set the delay. But how? Well, there is a way to do that, but you have to do that on the caller side of things. And ideally, you have to do it also on the listener side. But how do you do that? That is via a new feature, and that is the following. If we go now to, now this was the caller side of things, sorry, the listener. Now we're going to my own system, and that is right here. So boom, now we're in my own system. And let me show myself here. Hi. So what I do here is that I do a add input. Hi, Kermit. And here you also have, of course, stream SRT as an input. And then you select caller. And I've done that before. So here you go. This is the host name of the other system. And let me put it right there because, yeah, that's easier to look at. This is the host name of that other system. And this is the port that I used, the 5000 port that I did there as well. And note that I have latency 50. Now, again, the latency can be much smaller. But how do I do that? Well, it's actually very easy. Now, because if you look into the statistics, you now have a separate SRT tab. If you click on that and you wait for a few seconds, then you'll see that the round trip RTT in milliseconds is dangling between 0 and 1. So basically, 1 is the maximum amount of milliseconds that I have, and I barely have packages lost. So it's a little bit, but not so much. Now, I put it on 50 just because that's possible, but the rule of thumb is that you have to take the amount of milliseconds, let's say 10, and add it 4 times. So 10 becomes 40 milliseconds. At that 40 milliseconds, you need to then put into your, if you add an input in the SRT and in your caller, so that here you have the caller, the latency, and the rendezvous. If you put that in the caller, then here you can fill in 40, and there you're done. Then that's the way it works. And it's really, really fast and good. By the way, do you hear Kermit? Let me know that in the comments, because he is really paying a lot of, wants a lot of attention today. Okay, let's go into the comments. There are a lot of comments today. I hope that you like that. This is, oh, there's, okay, before I go into the comments, there's only one more additional thing that I want to talk to you about. There's one additional feature that, so besides NDI4, which is of course great, but maybe not that important. There's one additional feature that they have introduced, and I'm struggling so much with use cases on this one. But let me just say what it is. It's a mini mixer. So now, from now on, you can actually have a mini mixer, so you can have additional mixing feature to add. I don't know what to do with it, but let's show it anyway, how it looks like. So if I cancel this one, oh, cancel. this one right here, and I go to add input. Now, if I click add input, like I normally do, you don't see that additional feature here. It's not there at all. But if I click on this arrow right here, I do see a mix. And if I click on that, this thing pops up. And you can select a preview and a output. And then you can select it, and then you can cut between the two, like so. And it actually is playing, etc. So if I select Kermit, don't do that. Oh my God, don't do that, Kermit. So talking about wires, just FYI, Kermit just walked through the wire of the mouse, and the mouse went like this. Anyway, you gotta love the cats, right? Yeah, come here. Kermit. Kermit, come here. Come here. Come here. Let me show the people. Go, come here. Come here, guy. Come. Come. No? Okay, sorry about that, but I wanted to show you Kermit, of course. All right, so what was I about to say? Oh yeah, so I am struggling so much between what that is and how you can use that feature, this feature. But there might be some reasons and possibilities. I will look into it, I'll promise you, but I could not find any use case for it for me. So maybe for you, that might be the case. Anyway, that was the last part of this walkthrough. The mini mixer sounds like a second playlist. Yeah, it's a playlist, but what I've seen in another show is that they had a picture-in-picture here that they could walk through, loop through different pictures, for instance. That's a possibility that you have, and that kind of stuff. And yes, I do love Kermit, even though he's quite let's say motivated to have my attention today, but that's totally fine. Mini mixer, Kathleen asks, will that let me control the sound from Discord, voice, and chat? I don't think so. It's a mini mixer. It's really a limited mixer. It only allows you to fade. It only allows you to cut. It doesn't allow you to add overlays, for instance. So it's really centralized. It's very small, but it seems that it's something that in the professional world they have a use for it, and I'm struggling to figure out what that is, just to be honest. Multiple inputs loaded into each mini mixer. Yeah, I think that you can have up to 3 mini mixers in a system. And that's it. That's what I know. Is a mini mixer like an AE bus? I think it's maybe yes, but what I know that what they said was that it has a lot to do with a bit like a mix effects bus, like they have on the ATM switchers. So an ME bus, that's the closest what it is, but I'm not 100% sure what that means. So that is the case. One question that I can we hire you to talk with into investing in a streaming system? So the thing is, I'm more than happy to talk about streaming system, Floyd, but I am not going to go against your wife. I'm not going to do that. That's really you. You have to do that. But I'm more than willing to say something about how cool it is and that kind of stuff. And I mean, you can download it at this moment. If you have a PC, you can download it. Try it out for 60 days. It's for free for 60 days. That's 2 months. And if you like it, you can always start with maybe $60. Then go to $350, which is, I would say, the sweet spot for a lot of people. $350 version of vMix. Then you have the $700 and now I'm yeah, more than $1,000 version of vMix, which is of course the best one, but you don't need all the features, I can tell you. So yes. Thanks, Kathleen says, no problem. Let me see. Kermit Love. A little bit of Kermit. Okay, so you did hear Kermit. That's, yeah, I think that might be the case, Jason, that he sounds hungry, but he did have his food today already, twice. He did also have like we have these beef jerky kind of ish steaks. They are especially for cats. He only had one this today, so I might give him a second one in a few minutes. But it might be a hungry cat. That's definitely the case. David asks, have you tried tally and video return on the live view? No, I have not. Because I do not own a product from LiveView that allows me to do that. So, for instance, Tally works perfectly on the LU300 and the LU600, but not on the LU200, which I do have myself. So it only works on those two systems, the LU300 and the LU600. And the video return is only for the LU600, if I'm not mistaken. That one I don't know for sure, but to my best knowledge, that's only for the LU600. And the video return, you also have to have an additional server component to make that happen. And yeah, that's needed. So I did not use that. Now, come to think of it, it might be that I will get my hands on an LU600 in the future. So I might be able to do something with that, David. I might be able to assist you with that, or maybe do something with that. But I am not sure about that at all at this moment. I do think so that's going to happen. There are some discussions going on. That's all I can tell you. Oh yeah, and David, you said you started with nice to catch you on live show for a change. I only use vMix to set vMix call into the TriCaster, but nice to see the new features. Yes, and I think, David, you really have to check the SRT part. I think that's something that is really interesting for you as well. I can imagine that you're a professional guy that really needs this kind of stuff. I know that for sure. Let me see. Wise decision, says Kathleen, and then you're referring, of course, to not really pressing onto Miss Floyd. I'm not doing that. No way. No way in heavy. No way. You're a savvy businesswoman. I love the info, as always. Got to go. Okay, well, see you around. And David says that he has the LE600. I am so jealous about you, but I need to upgrade it to the LU4000. But is that the case? Question. So now I'm asking you, because this is something that you know. So I was under the impression that you only have to go to the LU4000 if you want to go 4K. If that's not the case, then please shoot me and tell me that that's not the case. Because I think that if you have the LU600 HD model, it's still possible to use the LU2000. That's what I think, but I'm not sure about that one. That's it. So basically what you've seen today is that you have seen SRT working like a charm the whole hour. It has been an hour. It's amazing. And thank you, I'm correct. I've seen it. And you've also seen that you have multiple audio inputs. So again, you can download the new version, the preview version, directly from the website, forums.vmix.com. You don't have to be logged in to do that. It's a full version of 60 days, so you can run it. And especially if you have already a license, it will run like a charm from the get-go. But again, it's non-production, so it's really my choice to take that risk. But it looks to be very good and very promising. But I do know, and I did notice some small issues. So one of them was, for instance, the API that you need to add in order to run vMix Social, and also the problem that we had with SRT, that of course the output of one could not work because of the thing, but that's my fault. David. I also have the HVC card, the 4K. I love you. We definitely need to talk. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this stream. Before I go, some heads up for next time. As you might know, I have been working on a conference. So I went to IBC, the American the European version of NAB. It's not from NAB, but it's basically the same thing. And I am going to have a booth at a conference here very close to where I live, but 20 kilometers, like 15 miles from here. So it's not far at all. And this is what the booth looks like without any branding, but there is branding on that when I'm in the at the conference, but I don't want to bring along a full-fledged computer because it's too important. So I got this from as a gift from a supporter of the show. I cannot say who that is because he doesn't want to. Let's say it's Santa. It's a Santa Claus present. A nice laptop. A fantastic laptop. Of course, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it at a later stage. I also have new microphones because at a conference you need to be talking to each other, and you can do it like this, of course, but we want to have a multitude of microphones in our area. And of course, we also have some additional USBs because these are USB microphones. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is that I am going to create a video series that allows you to select and bring along a setup, a mobile setup that allows you to bring in 2 video cameras and a webcam if you would like to, 2 microphones, and a full production. So I'm gonna walk you through it step by step how to do that, and also what are the learning points of being at a conference. How do you present your brand? How do you do that? Because this is the first time that I'm at a conference, so I'm gonna make some mistakes, and I'm gonna make you part of that discussion. I hope that you would like that. Anywho, that's it for today. Again, if you'd like to support the show, please do that. Go to techcondo.net/support. That is the area where you can support me. You can do that for $5, $10, $15, $25 per month. Really appreciate it if you would do that. I mean, things do cost money. And I wish you a very, very happy weekend and a fantastic coming week. And we'll see you next Saturday, same time, same channel. Have a good one. Bye.